Listen to the rumble. Listen to the roar. Slowly in 3. They'll be flying off 4. Watch them now.
All right, here we go, race fans. We are on location at the legendary Lawrenceburg Speedway. This track is very special to me. I grew up here. First racetrack I ever went to, I was probably 2 months old, here in the stands, hanging out, and grew up here. And I am very fortunate and happy to be sitting down with Dave Rudisill, the promoter here. And the reason I wanted to talk to you, Dave, is when I raced, I was a racer, and there were nights that I would bitch about the track, like every racer, and I'd bitch about anything. If we didn't do good, I could come up with a lot of excuses. And I can remember, it's just a common thing that guys bitch and moan about the track and the track prep and the way it's ran and everything, and everyone's an expert. And as I kept racing, I got to know that I didn't want no part of trying to prep a track, and I didn't know what I was talking about. And then I got to know you, and I really got my eyes open of what all it takes to promote a racetrack. And the first question I want to ask is, where are the big, huge stacks of money that I hear you guys have? There's like just cubic stacks of money, right?
Right. First of all, hey, thanks for doing this. This is kind of my honor to sit down and talk to you because you're one of my heroes too. So.
Nah.
Stacks of money, yeah, I don't know. I've been looking for them, and I think they're all across the street at the casinos.
Yeah.
I think they got the stacks of money.
They do. And that was talking about the casinos. We're going to get into that, of what they brought to this place and why this place looks the way it does. Before we get to that, I want you to kind of take us back. I know you have a racing background, and it's not circle track racing. Tell us how you grew up and where you came from with your racing side.
Well, we'll back way up to what got me into racing, and was my dad. He used to take us to, as a kid, I remember 5, 6 years old, he used to take us to Queen City Speedway.
Yeah.
And he worked right there in Bridgetown, Ohio, my dad did, at a construction company. And just down the street, he had a good friend. His name was Jeep Flume, and had a auto body shop there. Did mechanic work on Dad's vehicles back in the day.
Yeah.
And Dad became friends with him, and he raced a late model over at Queen City Speedway. So he started going over to see him, and I'd go with him, and loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
I never got to see Queen City.
Really?
I saw, I went there in the late 90s and 2000s when the track was still there, but they had a truck driving school in the infield. And, I saw the layout of the track, and I've seen pictures of Strickers running there, and then USAC came through there. The stock cars, Voight and all them guys came through there.
Yep.
And then Mugavin and all my heroes ran there, but I never got to see a race there.
Yeah, it was really cool because, Bob Seneker, Bobby Eddy, Mark Martin, he
really
raced there.
Wow.
This was the stock cars, the ASA stock cars.
Yeah.
And later on, down the road, we'd follow them, the ASA, and we'd go to IRP and whatever it's called nowadays. And
so the seed was set with
Winchester.
Oval Track then.
Yeah, they ran Winchester, and we'd go to some of them races and travel around on a really tight budget. My parents weren't rich, but we scraped up enough money to go see races.
Yeah, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in a cooler.
Heck yeah.
And go. Man, that's cool.
But, that's kind of where I got into racing. And then throughout the years, we used to go to Florence. Used to come down here.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot, but, at least 4, 5, 6 times a year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got involved in racing.
Okay.
And that was love circle track racing.
That's cool. I didn't know that you had a childhood around the circle track.
Yep.
I'm sure you're about to tell us about your drag racing, and that's what I had known. But that's cool that you grew up at racetracks as a kid. That makes sense.
I did that, and then I...
Did you have opinions about the tracks when you were a kid?
Oh, heck no. Heck no.
You're just happy to be there.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So then I, in high school, started hanging out with some friends that were into drag racing. And actually, it started out as they did some street racing.
Oh, yeah.
On the street.
Whereabouts?
Harrison, Ohio, St. Leon, wherever.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly we raced out there on 46 and all the way to the bridge.
Cool.
Down to 52, but
What era would this have been? 70s?
it would have been 80s.
80s, okay. See, here I'm
Mid-80s.
trying to date you.
Mid 80s.
Man, that's cool.
I was born in I was born in 70. So
Okay, cool. So, yeah, early 80s. Man, that's a good time.
yeah.
There was some fast shit on the streets in
Yeah.
the 80s.
So anyhow, buddy, his name's Jim Huber. He had a '69 Chevelle, street legal. You know, he drove it all the time, but it was fast. He had Bischoff. He worked at Bischoff Engine Service.
Cool.
It was then just a little 2-car shop down in West Harrison. So
Yeah.
he, his buddies with him, and he started doing the racing. And then there was a big race. Hot Rod Magazine was going to, you know, they knew about all these street cars and street races back in that time, and they wanted to get all these cars from the south, the north, you know, all around,
Yeah.
and have a streetcar race. So I believe it was late 80s, like 89, 90 maybe. But they got together down in Memphis, Tennessee for the first annual streetcar shootout put
Cool.
on by Hot Rod. And there was a couple other companies. I know Comp Cams was a big part of putting that together and stuff. And anyhow, we went down, me and Jim Huber, we loaded up in his old Chevy truck, you know, just open trailer, and we never trailered the car before, but
We'll figure it out on the
It
way.
was pretty chintzy trailer too, but we got there, and he, you know, he was outclassed. He was way outclassed. And back then, you used to have to do a road course.
Like a reliability run?
Yeah, like 25 miles on it.
Make sure the car would sit in traffic and
Right.
could
had
do
to
all
have
that. and
Horns,
go,
turns, you know, had to have all
could
that.
go a distance, not on like 2 gallons of fuel. Actually
Right.
had to hold real amounts of fuel.
You're right.
That's cool.
Yep. And then to prove it was street legal. And,
Yeah.
well, he ended up being consistent down there, and he was fast. I think that back then he was running 10-0s.
Oh shit, that's quick,
Yeah.
man. That's good.
And he made it to the top 10.
Really?
And then it kind of exploded from there because, you know, all of a sudden he's on a T-shirt. He's in the Hot Rod magazines as one of the top 10 fastest street cars in America.
Yeah.
And then it just evolved from that.
Yeah.
So, and it really took off, and I was hooked with it, man. This is cool. So for years we traveled. After that they started Memphis a few years, and then after that they did a series, and they'd travel across the country. They had maybe 10 races a year. We'd go to Martin, Michigan, of course Memphis, and I think maybe Norwalk, Ohio, and Atlanta. I don't know. We traveled a lot of places,
Yeah.
and then we started to evolve from there. And, you know, of course, we had to keep making the car faster. And did that for quite a number of years. And then Jim bought a S10 truck, street legal, and because you know the Chevelle wasn't getting it anymore, it was too heavy.
Yeah.
And it was sad because the Chevelle was cool.
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I mean?
Yeah, the cool factors.
Yeah.
Sky
Yeah.
high from
Yeah.
a Chevelle to an S10.
Right.
I'm a fan of S10s, but it's not a Chevelle. Come on
Right,
now.
exactly. But you got to do what you got to do
yeah.
to go faster,
Yeah.
and that's what he did. And then about that point, another friend of mine, high school buddy, he started doing a street legal shootout too in a different class. It was called Easy Street back in the day, the name of the class, and it was a smaller tire class and more restrictions on. Could only have one power adder, and, you know, one stage of nitrous. And
Wow, cool.
his name was Gary Rowe.
Okay.
And he
I know that
started helping him out a lot, and traveling with him also. I was helping Jim and him, and then over the years, I'm guy helping all the time. I wanted to get a piece of this pie. I wanted to start racing. You know, I'm tired of turning wrenches. So me and Gary built a car for myself, and originally my plan, it was a drag radial class. Drag radial racing was starting to come out, and they had a class called Hot Rod Magazine come out with a class called Factory Street, and it was a street legal class. It was no wheelie bars. You had the big kicker was you had to run a DOT street legal tire, drag radial tire.
Yeah, so it wasn't a wrinkle wall drag tire. This was
a BF Goodrich 275 is what it was.
Okay.
And that's the class I was going to build this car for. It's a new class, and it was all naturally aspirated class.
Yeah.
No power adders at the time. So I wanted to do that. It seemed really cool. The money was good, for the class too. So I got with Tony Bischoff and Gary, and we come up with an idea for a car, and ended up being a 84 Mustang hatchback.
Okay.
I had a 76 Firebird
yeah.
that I already owned. I really wanted to make that into a
That's
race
heavy.
car.
That would be heavy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it. And, I needed a fender for it. Well, 76 is an oddball, rare year. I found a fender in California. It was like $600. I could buy a complete Mustang body.
Yeah.
Everything for that price. So we decided to go with the Mustang. So then Tony Bischoff come up with the motor idea. We actually had a Cleveland-headed Windsor, old Cleveland heads on a Windsor block, and
Nice.
and it flowed some numbers.
That's awesome.
It flowed some numbers, and
What year was that you got that car together?
oh, that would have probably been in mid-80s or mid-90s.
Okay. All right, good.
Around there.
Yeah.
And so we built that car, and I started drag racing. And our first race, I went down to West Palm Beach, Moroso Motorsports Park in West Palm Beach, Florida. And that was my inaugural race. And I went out there and never made a lap in the car or pass in the car, and took it down all the way to Florida for the opening of the opener of the season. And that was
Dive
fun.
right in.
That was fun. I think I went a round or two and actually did good.
Real, that's cool.
And then I think it was
That
the next race or the race after, I started winning.
That hooked you even more.
Yeah,
You're hooked. You're done.
Yeah. And then I'm setting ET records, mile per hour records.
Wow.
I'm leading points and setting the world on fire.
Yeah, man,
And,
which ain't easy.
No.
Usually doesn't
no,
happen that way.
No, it was all working out really good, and I was making good money. You know, I was winning $7,000 a weekend.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, it was good then. It
Yeah.
was good. And so I'm kind of getting winded on this.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm here all day, man.
Sounds
We're
good.
fine. Keep right on going.
So we
I like this. This is I've only scratched the surface with your drag racing history. This is good. Oh, I like hearing
good,
that.
good. It's good times, and I'm kind of digging deep in the back of my brain,
That's
remembering
good,
this
man.
stuff.
That's
so,
good.
So after that, I ran that a year or two, and there was some other sanctions started coming out. One of them was the National Streetcar Association, and they had a similar type class, but it allowed a power adder.
Okay.
So I chose to put a nitrous plate on it. I ran with the nitrous
What
plate.
all would be considered a power adder other than nitrous?
A blower.
Okay. I was thinking, blower, turbo. I mean, all
Turbo,
that was, wow.
yep.
Okay. Pretty
Turbo.
drastic.
Yeah. So, sure, I'm going to go one of these races and just throw a plate on it, nitrous plate on it. And I started doing that. And that was called, what was the name of that class? Traction Advantage was the name of it.
Still on DOT drag radials?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Now, is this a stick shift car?
no, automatic.
Okay.
Had a power glide in.
Okay.
Got to have some good Chevy parts in it, right?
That's right. I'm a Chevy guy, so yep.
So, and so am I, but
Yeah.
that Mustang worked as good
Well,
as this
yeah.
car. So I started running that also because we were only running with Hot Rod Magazine, 7-8 times a year. And then there's another place to go race and put a plate on it. So I started doing that, and I did really well in that. Won points
It's
championship.
not supposed
in
to
that.
be that easy.
I know,
Dave.
right? Well, hey, I attribute it all to my friends that helped me, and Tony Bischoff from
Yeah.
Bischoff Engine Service.
That's legendary engine place still to this day.
Yes.
I mean, that's a worthy place to get a horsepower from.
Being good friends with them
Yeah.
since high school. So
That's cool.
Paid off. So did really well with it. And then they changed up as years went on. I think maybe 3 or 4 years later, and I was setting the world on fire and winning everything. And the payouts started going down. Instead of the contingency sponsors paying $300 for each sticker you had on your car to win, they were starting to pay you in gift certificates.
Oh, yeah.
So you started getting all these gift certificates for gauges and
Yeah.
all this stuff.
The electric and the water company, they don't take gift certificates.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Your buddies want them, but they don't want to pay nothing for them. So, and back then the internet wasn't as big, but that's try to sell the stuff and recoup some money. So that started going down. I was doing good. I was getting some good sponsors. I know Mickey Thompson contacted me. They were building it it was about in the middle of my career racing, but they started developing a street legal, something that was DOT street legal.
Yeah.
That was made by Mickey Thompson.
Oh, yeah, man.
They called it a drag radial. And so they called me up because at the time I was kind of the man with the radial tire. So we went up to Norwalk and did some testing for them. I helped them develop that tire.
Really? Now, were they, by then, were they trying to make a wrinkle wall tire for the street, or was it not that? That's what they were trying to do.
Pretty much.
Okay.
It had
How low of air pressure could you run on like a street DOT tire? I'm sure you weren't. Were you allowed wheel screws or any kind of bead lock?
We ran wheel screws.
Okay.
Yep, no bead locks.
How low of air could you run on?
We were at around 10, 11 pounds pressure.
And they would hook up and go, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Running that hard.
Yep.
That's cool that they put that much research into it.
Yep.
That's cool. And then it just had to have a certain amount of tread and tread depth to be DOT approved?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then, that caused a lot of uproar now because I showed up at this the next race after I did this testing. And I told Mickey Thompson, if I'm doing this testing for this tire, I want a set of these tires.
Yeah.
So I showed up at this next drag race with this Mickey Thompson drag radial tire.
I didn't know what I'd ever seen.
Right. Everybody else has run, the BFGs that are just a street tire. I mean, they're a real legit street tire.
Yeah.
They were good, but nothing compared to this Mickey Thompson tire. So I showed up, and I was already doing fairly well with the race, and then I come out.
So they had their sights on you already. You were a target.
And then I showed up with this tire that's like a like a top fuel slick compared to the. They were a little fired up, so of course I went out and.
It worked
that weekend.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. That doesn't make it any better.
No. So it wasn't very long that everybody had them, but it was cool that I got to be a part in developing that tire and doing testing, and being a part of that.
That's very cool.
Now it's huge, and they're still selling.
Now is that same series the world's fastest streetcar shootout that we see today? Is that basically the same series still going?
Yeah, it is. It's changed names. Right now, I think it's called the NMCA, National Muscle Car Association.
Okay.
So, and I don't follow it much anymore.
Yeah.
Just don't have the time to.
Life changes.
A lot of my buddies have quit racing, and Tony Bischoff and Jim Widener are still heavily involved in doing that stuff, and are doing well.
Yeah. Now, I know the answer to this, but I want you to tell me. Did you ever take any wild rides in the Mustang drag racing?
Yeah. One time. Actually, I've had quite a few, but the one I like to talk about was up at Columbus, National Trails Raceway or Speedway. Well, I guess
it's National Trails. Yeah, I've been there when I went to school up there.
Was up there. The National Muscle Car Association. No, I take that back. The National Street Car Association always had the championship or their final race there, and I was up there and. Had the ride of my life. I like to talk about this one because I went out there and I stood it up on the bumper, launched it, stood it up. It just gradually kept going up and up and up. About 3:30, it was about on the bumper, and about 8th mile, it was on the bumper, maybe on one wheel.
And gaining speed.
Yeah, I throw it in high gear, and it just kind of gradually comes down and slams down, and I said gradually and slam, but no, it was a gradual slam.
Gradual slam,
and,
yeah.
I cranked off like an 880, 162 mile an hour. Got a lot of publicity on that one. And everybody come over, look at that car, and that's cool. And when I came down, gradually, one of the freeze-out plugs in the oil galley, a little freeze-out plug in the oil galley in the intake popped out.
Okay.
I lost oil pressure. So I thought it was done.
Yeah.
And then we started, took the intake off and found a problem and was good to go. Went on to win the race that weekend. But
Damn.
that's the wild ride I'd like to talk about. Now there's another wild ride
that's more you can own that one.
There's one that made me famous. You gotta do crazy stuff to get famous, but one that got me in all the magazines, Hot Rod, Cardcraft, all them popular hot rodding. I was in all their magazines because I was upside down. It was in Birmingham, Alabama, at a track.
Okay.
And the track, they had storms, real bad tornadoes all around on Friday night. It was a lot of rain. Well, we raced on Saturday, or qualified on Saturday, and I go out there and car had the best 60-foot ever. Took off great, launched it, got out about, a couple hundred feet and lost traction.
Okay.
And started fishtailing and was heading to the wall. And I did one last-ditch effort and just kicked it to the right and tried to save it from hitting the wall. Well, it grabbed and started flipping me.
Damn.
Or flipped over on its roof and slid on its roof probably, 500-600 feet.
Wow. Enough time to think about it?
Yeah. A long time to think about it. And it's funny because I got quoted in, I think it was Carcraft. I got the quote of the year. It said, the brakes don't work when you're on the roof.
You were hitting them, but nothing was happening.
I'm sliding on the roof and I hit the brakes and nothing. I'm like, oh, that's not going to work, you idiot. Kept sliding, hit the brakes again. Well, that's still not going to work.
Still not working.
I thought I had already pulled the parachute. It wasn't deployed, but I thought I pulled the parachute. And but yeah, that got a quote in a magazine.
Yeah. And, how in the hell did you end up at a dirt track then? I mean, obviously you got smart and went dirt racing, right?
Well,
That's what the dirt guys will like to say.
Well, I didn't go dirt racing. I worked.
How long did you drag race? What was your last year?
Oh gosh, it would have been. Boy, I don't even remember.
Late 90s?
Yeah, it was
okay.
late 90s.
Cool.
Maybe even 2000.
Right in there?
No, actually, I'm thinking because I bought an RV in 2000 or 2001, and I quit racing maybe 3 years. It was probably 2004.
Okay.
Is when I started getting out of it. Well, whenever I took over this speedway, is when I totally got out of it.
All right. There was no downtime between.
Car.
There was no downtime between.
A little bit. I'd slowed down a bunch with the drag racing. I still went to some shows here and there, but I was slowing down.
For people that don't know, the Lawrenceburg Speedway that we're sitting at is a state fairgrounds. And it's the city of fairgrounds, Lawrenceburg, right? They own it.
They're actually county fairgrounds.
County fairgrounds. So Dave doesn't own Lawrenceburg Speedway, but you were approached by someone to promote it, or did you approach them?
No, actually, at the time, which I still do, is work at Perfect North Slopes.
Okay,
and,
that's a ski resort here close to Lawrenceburg, right up the road.
I've been there since I was in high school.
Cool.
I worked there full time, and that helped me when I drag race because in the summer, it wasn't real important to be there on Fridays and stuff. But I did sneak off the races whenever I could.
Now, were you doing maintenance there, running stuff? What were you doing?
I run, make snow in the winter and groom the hill.
Cool.
With the snowcats on the hill and push snow around and all the maintenance, work on the lifts, chair lifts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that would be a busy job there.
We do all of our own building there, so we built lodges and
cool.
A little bit of everything.
The jumps and all the obstacles, you built all that stuff too?
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Well, I
snowboarded there, so I know.
We built a lot of crazy stuff. Nowadays, it's, there's a lot of metal on the hills.
Rails, that's crazy.
All that good stuff. So, anyhow, I worked there out of high school, or even in high school, and then I got on full time there and worked there for years and years and years, and then drag racing, and it's getting kind of bored. I guess with the summer stuff. Just weed eating or building, doing stuff. So, looking at the local paper at home, I got, we used to get a paper back then, 10, 13, 14 years, 15 years ago. Yep. People read the newspaper still.
It didn't come up on your phone.
Right. Didn't get the Twitter snap or whatever you got.
Yep.
So sitting there reading the paper, the local paper, and there's an ad in there that they were looking for somebody that taking applications to promote Lawrenceburg Speedway. And I thought, oh man, that would be, that'd be cool. I could still be involved in racing.
Yeah.
And
relax and kick back.
Yeah. Just go down there and open the gates, and I want to
Sprinkle a little water on it.
I want to come in on Sunday and just break the money up and take it to the bank.
Yep.
And like, man, this would work good. It'd give me something more productive to do in the summer. So I thought about it, talked to my wife about it quite a bit, and then I went and talked to Chip Perfect, one of the owners at Perfect North, and my boss at the time, and said, hey, the Speedway's coming up for a lease renewal, and I heard they weren't happy with the guy that was running it, and I'd love to do this. I think it's a good opportunity. I think we can make billions and billions of dollars, and think we could make something of this. And he's like, but I need, I went to him, I need money.
Yeah.
I need
Got to be a money guy. There's always a money guy.
I need a money guy. So he's like, well, yeah, he's heard them all before. So, everybody's coming wanting to different ideas. So,
the latest, greatest idea.
So he supported it, and he said, well, you do some research, write some numbers down, figure some stuff out, see if we can make it work.
Most people probably give up right there with him.
Right.
He knew most people probably just give up there.
Right.
Go take the next step and I'll listen to you.
Right.
Which is cool.
Which
you got to do it.
Right. Absolutely. That's why he's a great businessman. So anyhow, I ran with it. I went, started doing research. I started crunching numbers, what I would need to operate this track, starting basically from scratch, because the city only provides the facilities.
Okay.
They provide the track, the fence, the lights, the concession stands, but they're empty, nothing in them.
Yeah.
So I had to.
At that time, had they built the new grandstands yet?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the front stretch grandstands
Okay.
were a couple years old.
A quick history on Lawrenceburg is it was a small quarter-mile bull ring from the time of like the 50s all the way up until this era we're talking about, around 2002, 2003. And it had an old covered grandstands that was really, historical and cool, but they were falling down. And I remember in 98, 99, 2000, when we raced here, the late mid-90s, the top 6 rows of the grandstands were roped off because they were literally had broke off and were falling away. So it needed to be done, and they built the new grandstands. Do you remember what year they did that?
I want to say 2002-ish.
Okay. It's the grandstands that are there today, and they fit this track. But with the old little quarter mile, it was like this massive grandstand overlooking this little bitty bull ring.
Yeah.
And it was so nice to have new grandstands. And that's where you came in, where it was still the quarter mile, but it had the new grandstands.
Yep, new grandstands, the new bathrooms, the concession stands were
Cool.
all new.
Very good. And how did that come about? Was that casino money? Had that hit?
Yes. The casinos were in place, and they were doing a lot of infrastructure throughout the city, put money all over the city.
See, I really think that's cool because most people, they want to badmouth the casinos. But we learned just from talking to guys like you that when the casinos came in here, they didn't just close their doors. They flooded a lot of money back into the city, and really,
absolutely a lot of money.
Yeah,
because
that's
this city
cool.
was decrepit, falling apart. It wasn't.
I had heard one
wasn't very
time, and you can tell me, at one time I had heard that if you live in the city limits or a certain amount of area, you get college tuition for your kids.
No,
That's
No.
totally a lie.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's
if
the kind of
if you go
rumors.
to Lawrenceburg, the schools, there's a lot of scholarships available.
Okay.
But there's not. No,
Nothing like that.
No.
But they flooded in. They built a new highway, the new bridge that goes through there.
They did. It's funny because when they were trying to get the casinos in here and had all these people going around saying, you don't want casinos, they're horrible, they're going to bring prostitutes and all this stuff. And
Guns and knives.
And that's
and
my
killings.
biggest complaint is, I drive up and down the streets all the time. I still can't find these prostitutes.
You were promised prostitutes. Where are they at?
I know. And you never see them. I'm just kidding. I always joke around about that. I was like, I never see these.
That's good.
So, but they brought in a lot of money, and it went throughout the city, and then the city, they knew we had an eyesore and a decrepit racetrack over here.
Yeah.
And they wanted to. They know it brings a lot of people into town.
Yeah.
And
I can remember as a child, all the way up until my teen years, if you went in the restrooms, you were peeing in a steel gutter, basically.
Yeah, you didn't want to be on the low side.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't a great facility. It was a dirt track, which, and a lot of dirt tracks are still that way, just because they're struggling with money. Yeah. But that's one thing I always tell people about Lawrenceburg is if you want to take your wife or your kids or a sponsor to a track, go to Lawrenceburg, because the facility here is so amazing.
It is.
And so when you came in, the stands and the bathrooms were nice. They were good.
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Yep.
So pick us up from there. Sorry for the sideshow, but I got to keep everyone informed.
I forget where I was at now.
You had talked to Chip Perfect, and he said,
yeah.
we're
I'm
behind you.
Yeah, he was behind me, and I ran the numbers, and he's like, hey, he seemed like it was a good thing, and maybe he's just wanting to get rid of me in the race. I don't know. But we ran with it, and I went to the city. I went first. I had to, draw up a pretty good proposal, and I used all my drag racing buddies, and Rick Moroso wrote me a nice.
That's cool.
A letter saying, I think I'm more than capable. Been dealing with me for years, and people like that, and
references, man, good references.
I had a lot of good references,
cool.
and I did a lot of good research. Well, in the meantime, too, when I started researching the Speedway, I started talking to a lot of the local people around here and different people, and I kept hearing this one name come up, and everybody kept saying this one guy's name. He used to prep the track, and he did a great job, and he was really good on the track prep, him and his son, and kept hearing his name, Mel Johnson, and so I got to get a hold of this guy,
yes.
Mel, obviously, because I really didn't have a clue about running the dirt track,
Yeah.
I've run a ski area. We put people on a snow hill in Indiana. I'm good at that.
If you want snow on this place, you're good at that.
I drag race. I was around racing, and I used to get race tracks and circle tracks, but really I didn't have a clue to dirt track, prepping a dirt track. So I didn't want to come in here and take over this place and start prepping a track because I had no idea.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I got in a local phone book. We used to have them. That's a book. And anybody listen, that's a book that we used to have phone numbers in.
Yep, before Google.
Yeah, before Google.
Yeah, the yellow pages.
I actually got a phone book in the mail the other day. I thought it was really funny. I'm like, what's this? So I got in the phone book. I looked up Mel Johnson, started research. Well, he just lives down the street from me. He's probably a mile away. I'm like,
no kidding.
Nice. So I called him up. I said, Mel, this is my name's Dave Rudisill. I worked at ski area, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I was thinking about, I'm working on trying to get the track for Lawrenceburg Speedway, trying to win the bid on it. And I think the first thing he said, are you sure?
You sure you want to do that?
Yeah. He was trying to talk me out of it. And hindsight, I wish I'd listened to him.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so I ended up, and he was struggling. He had cancer at the time, and he was in really bad shape. And I talked to him for a while, and we ended up meeting up. And told him I wanted to help me and be involved with it. And his family tells me, I saved his life.
Really? Yeah.
I saved his life. That's what his
Got him
family
back
told
in
me.
there.
Because he was pretty much, he had cancer. He was
no reason, man.
No reason to live, pretty much. You know what I mean? He was just done.
Yeah.
And I lit a fire under him when I called him.
Man, that's cool.
And
any racer around this area and Lawrenceburg racers, we all know that name because he was the man for prepping this place.
Yes.
I mean, no one ever complained about the way Mel prepped this place.
Yep.
That's so cool that you had enough sense to go after Mel.
Yep.
And got him.
I did, yeah. And then, I'm trying to recollect. We started talking a lot, and then we started going to races, other tracks, and and just learn. I was just learning from him and picking his brain constantly, and we was going to other tracks to see what the hell they were doing wrong or what the hell they were doing right.
Oh yeah.
We went to Speed Weeks down in Volusia.
Nice.
And all them tracks down there. We started traveling around, and I yet to get the lease. And I think that was right in about the time where they were taking bids, and then they postponed it, and they were going to give the old promoter another year to see if he'd straighten up.
Yeah.
And it was a messed up situation, but I was kind of assured that I was going to have a good shot at getting the track, not to quit on it, and because this guy was going to fail the next year or whatever, we kept trudging along and researching and getting things lined up to take over the Speedway, and Mel was in tow with me.
That's cool. That is cool. That had to pull some weight too. I mean, anyone that they would talk to, say, hey, this guy named Dave and Mel want to do the track.
Yep.
You can bet doors were opened. And
Yes.
they said, yes, get that guy back in there.
Yep.
That's cool.
They all love Mel too. So
Yeah.
So yeah, he was a big part of it, and him and his son Tim, I was paying them to do the track prep, and of course I was helping them and learning along the way, and mainly probably getting in the way from the first year.
Yeah,
first year, but we was learning, and they were teaching me a lot of good things.
What were some of the biggest surprises you ran into that you never dreamed you'd have to deal with on a track like that?
Everything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why I ask. I have no clue.
Oh, it's just I remember. I guess I'm trying to think back, but I do remember the first race. It was still the quarter mile, and Mel and Tim were getting the track ready, and we were here on Friday night, and we were just dumping the water on, and I think it's getting muddy, and as a guy that had no clue, I'm like, oh my God, what are we, we're trying to rain out, or what are we doing? What are we doing? And it was a mess. And that's what I had in my mind.
We've ruined this place.
I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. But I was worried. And then, we come in Saturday and we keep watering and all day. And I'm like, I'm getting nervous, and come 3 o'clock, we're still dumping water on it. And this thing's just a mess. And I had no clue. And, about 5 o'clock, all right, let's start getting a tractor and truck. Let's start running this in. I'm like, I hopped in an old Chevy pickup truck out there and started making I couldn't even stay on the
soupy mess.
Quarter mile. Yeah, and he's running around the tractor, stuff's flinging everywhere, and I'm like, I was just beside myself. I'm like, what are we going to do? We're going to have to cancel. I'm going to look like a fool with this new guy. Did they set me up? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And about 6 o'clock, all of a sudden it starts gumming up, and it's just beautiful. Wow. It's taking hold, and and the track's awesome. It's ready. Shit. It's ready for USAC. We were opening. That was my first night. Was USAC.
Oh my God!
Opening night. Yeah,
no pressure there.
Right,
Jeez.
Right. And track was awesome. It was awesome, and it was funny. But it wasn't really funny. It scared the hell out of me. But I think it was the first or second car to come out, or first group. It was the first group of hot laps came out, and there was a car, and I wish I could remember who. But there was a car that I think the first turn he flipped and flipped and flipped, over the banking down all the way to the trees by the cars parked on the old back stretch.
Yeah.
And then right then I'm thinking, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Well,
never seen a drag car do that.
Yeah, and then there was another one, and then they qualified, and there was cars flipping. And, the track was great. The track was smooth. It was just fast.
Yeah,
and
that you put a track under them.
And these drivers weren't used to a track with grip, bite. You're cushion,
exactly right.
A cushion, because in the years leading up to, it was mainly a lot of dry slick, and
as a racer, you get used to the way tracks are, and you can bet a lot of those guys had their notes from the year before. Mm-hmm. They knew what Lawrenceburg was going to be like. Right. They knew what it was going to do. And, you know, I mean, visually you can see a track might look heavy, but you still got to go with what your paper, you know, your notes are telling you what a place is going to do. And I, as a racer, and I'm sure the racers listening have been at tracks where that scenario's happened. You stick a heavy, fast racetrack under a field of sprint cars, and it will weed some guys out real quick.
And it did. I think, but by that feature time, I think we flipped 7 or 8 cars that night.
That's your first night as a promoter?
And I'm freaking out. That was a tough night. And we had a great crowd, and everything went well, and the races were great. But
was USAC themselves happy with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
happy.
Yes.
That's important,
Yep.
as you've come to find out.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
And but yeah, that was my very first race and promoting a race here.
And was Mel having a good time? Was he enjoying it?
He was giggling like a little 5-year-old.
Man, that's cool.
The whole time, and he loved it. And
what year was that?
would have been my first year was 07.
Okay. Wow.
07.
Wow. That is cool. And you guys, that's cool. Very good. Now, how many years more did Mel get to do the track?
You know, it's a guess, but I wish I was better on dates.
I know it all happened so quick, man. Tell me about it.
I want to say 4 years, 5, maybe 5 years, 6. It was right around. It was.
And you just sucking everything up you could learn from him.
Yep, him and Timmy and his boy, and learned everything I could, and then I should know the year he died, but Mel passed away, and Timmy continued to help us for a few years.
Very cool.
And made sure I was in good hands.
Wow.
You know, that he trusted me with it, and.
Now, was Mel instrumental on telling you what kind of equipment you needed here? What he wanted?
Yeah. He didn't care what we had as far as watering, but we had to water. We had to put a lot of water down, and so he told me we needed water trucks, and whatever I got, we adapted to. And obviously, you just don't go out and buy new stuff, so you got to get old fuel trucks or whatever you could get. And
old fire trucks, old airport trucks, everything.
Yes.
You see it all at these racetracks. Yeah.
And, of course, we had to have a grader and a sheep's foot. And, that's the necessity.
What's the big 8-wheel tractor you guys got? The red one?
I don't have that one right at the moment.
Okay.
I have another one coming in. That's from Case.
That's a nice piece.
Yeah, that thing's huge. It's bad when I have to take a break halfway up. It's got 7 steps to get in it.
Jeez.
7 steps to get in that Case.
Jeez.
Case Magnum tractor.
Wow.
That thing's like 480 horsepower.
Yeah, it does. It does a phenomenal job. And then you've got the big water truck with like the monster truck tires on it.
The floater truck, and that's a great tool, and that helps run the track in.
Very
and
cool.
we water with it. We can get way up on the banking and get the water up against the wall, and that's huge.
You've done an amazing job with this place, and where I want to go now is down the road that comes with it, of when you have a bad night or Mother Nature kicks your ass all week and you have an off night and you got everybody and their brother being an expert. How do you put up with that, man?
It's not easy. My skin's gotten very thick over the years.
It has to.
I don't think you could get a knife in that skin right now. The first few years, you get beat up. You get beat up real bad.
Yeah.
It makes you not want to go in the next day. It makes you want to give up. And everybody's an expert. Everybody, I was the same way when I drag race. I was the same way.
Yeah.
And
come on, what are they doing? What the hell?
They put too much VHT down, or they don't. Absolutely. And
but I bet when you were winning, you weren't complaining as much, right?
Oh no.
Track was perfect when you were winning.
Love the place, absolutely. So, you get a lot of, and it wasn't as bad back then. I don't think when I drag race, and I used to, because typically if I had a complaint, I went to the person in charge or whatever. I'd tell them.
Yeah.
We didn't have a device. an iPhone.
Yeah.
internet.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't complain to the world on Sunday.
Right. And that's where we're at now is a guy from some little 12-year-old in Ethiopia could be bashing.
Yeah,
Anybody
anybody.
and everybody can bash
Guys
you.
that watch it on TV can bash it.
Yes.
That blows me away.
Right.
They
right.
can watch it online and then and bitch about it.
Yeah, it's bad enough having the track experts in the stands, but now you got them across the world
Yeah.
that bash you. And I don't want to be super negative on it all, but it only takes a few idiots out there on the internet bashing you that it really affects you. And over the years I've come to realize, that's going to happen. It doesn't matter what we do. And going back to Mel Johnson, he always told me, he says, no matter what you do, you could give them $100 bill when they walk in the gate, they're going to bitch because they didn't get $200.
That's a good theory.
Mel always said that, and it stuck with me. And it's so true, though.
Yeah.
No matter what, somebody's going to complain about something. And I've come to realize that, and as long as the people complaining don't outweigh the number of people complimenting, I'm fine with it.
That's the way I look at it, and I've noticed it. For every guy that bitches, there's 10 people that didn't say anything because they were happy. People don't go out of the way to tell you how good it was.
Right.
It was just good. It was cool, man. I'll be back next Saturday.
Yeah.
But people feel they have to bitch about it.
Yes.
And that's that's the truth. There's always people that no news is good news. If people like it, we'll be back next Saturday.
Exactly.
Recently, I believe it was last season, there was a driver that complained online so heavily about a racetrack that the sanctioning body set him down. Do you want to comment on that? What do you think about that? And tell us why you think that affects tracks, because it does.
Yeah, the guy, and it was once again a social media thing. Drivers for a couple years constantly bashing tracks wherever they went. He was bashing them.
Yeah,
and
I've heard him in the winner's circle bashing your track.
Yes,
and that blew my mind. It just won the race, and he's bitching about the track.
Right.
That blew my mind. And we had some choice words for him from the grandstands.
A lot of people did.
But yeah, and it finally came to a head.
Yeah, and I like the guy. He's I like him because he's different. He's a different person.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody was fit and proper and
clean cut.
It would be boring. He adds a lot of spice to racing, and I like him for that. Now he's just gone too far. When he's bashing, and he can bash me all he wants. It didn't bother me, but it became an epidemic where he's bashing tracks across the country. Whether true or not, I know some of his gripes. He's got a good point. He's had points here. These rough and one and twos, whoop-de-doos, and absolutely. But to bash them, hey, come to me. I already know. Yeah. I know every little nook, cranny, rock, anything, whoop-de-doos in this track. I know, believe me. Yeah. I'm around this track every day of the week. I know, and I'm working on it. Now, if I was just sitting home, not doing anything, I understand.
Yeah, if you were back here in an air-conditioned building, not even watching, but you're not. You're out there on the four-wheeler all night watching. And
he has no clue what's going on besides what he's experienced at the moment. So,
and another angle to that is he has a huge fan following. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of people that follow him, and they're fans, and they listen to him and take it to heart.
Right.
And that affects your sales, man. It affects the people that come to these tracks. And as a race fan, I want all racetracks and all racing series to survive and thrive. Because if they don't, we're not going to have any racing.
Yep.
And when comments online can actually hurt the racing as a whole, that's an issue.
Yeah. And not, just a little further than that, him bashing tracks, and he starts it, and then everybody, all of his followers and the fans are like, well, that's what we do. All right, let's be like,
Then
right,
you got
let's start
50
bashing.
guys,
And then they start, and it's an epidemic, and it's not good, and it's not good for him. It's not good for us. It's not good for anybody. I always tell people, if you got an issue or a problem, come to me. Mm-hmm. I'm easily available. I'm here to track every day of the week. You can call me. You can message me or whatever. Talk to me first. I got Jarrett Andretti.
Yeah.
He calls me several times, a dozen times a season, giving me his inputs and what he'd like to see, or if he has a gripe, he calls and talks to me, and I try to help him out and tell him to explain to him, and he listens. And, we got a good relationship like that because, he don't go on the internet and start just bashing. And looking on the side of his car, it shows, he's got sponsors. He does have the name.
Yes.
But he also has he's got a good mind where he knows what to say and what not to say.
Yeah,
and
that makes
who
sense.
to say it to.
Yeah.
So,
growing up, my old man pounded in our head, growing up racing. If we would complain about a big rut in one, his theory was, hey, boy, it's out. Everyone here has to deal with that rut. It's not just you. Everyone here has to deal with it. So go figure it out. We're not, maybe it'll be fixed next week, but figure it out tonight. Instead of bitching and crying about it, it's that way for everyone. Mm-hmm. Anything you don't like about that track, it's the same for everyone tonight. Figure it out. That's racing. That's what we're doing. And that's probably, and I'm sure that's the traditional side of Andretti's family telling him that.
Probably right.
Quit bitching. That's, don't go complaining online. Just figure it out, and that's a cool way that he does that. What surprised you as far as the survival of a track and keeping a track profitable and operating? Is it, because I know there are people out there that think you just rake a track, just can't even handle the money coming in. And then there's other people that understand it's not like that. They stay afloat, and some tracks don't. And unfortunately, we've lost. From the time of the 30s and 40s and 50s when dirt short track racing was at its height, we've lost 90% of the dirt tracks in the country. They're gone.
Mm-hmm. And it's still going down.
And it's still going down. Every year we lose dirt tracks.
Yes, we do.
And why is that?
I can speak for myself. I come here every day of the week, and we've talked a lot about dirt track prep and the track itself and the conditions of the track, but it goes way so much further.
Take us through a week of what you got to do, from the water on the track to how many pizzas you got to have, to ice, to beer, to
the biggest thing. I tell people, the past few years, I've been saying it all the time, is we operate 4 restaurants here on a Saturday night for 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You operate 4 restaurants? It's like, yeah. What do you mean? It's like, we have 4 concession stands. They're restaurants. People aren't sitting down. They're taking their food with them, but we're cooking hot dogs, hamburgers, fries, everything. We're doing everything that a restaurant does. And we have 4 of them every night that have to be operating for one night. A lot of people, you don't think about, and I never thought about, but you're only operating one night a week if that week is good weather.
If it doesn't rain out, or if it's not freezing.
So you have to, there's so much planning and that goes along with it for just that Saturday night and having what you need for that one night and managing it so everything's good and fresh through that week and not ordering too much. If the crowd's down, if it's cloudy out, people don't come. So, and then you got, like I said, with the lease with the city, I have the concession stands that they provide me, but there's nothing in them when I took over this track. So I have to have all this, talk about the hot dogs, hamburgers. We have to cook them. So we have to have all the equipment to cook them.
All the fryers, all the ovens,
the
all
pizza
the heaters.
Everything, yeah. I mean,
And they don't run trouble free.
No, one of my biggest task here is ice. I make snow in winter. But I make ice in the summer.
Yeah, you can't get away from
I
it.
have 7 ice makers that I'm constantly working on.
Really?
Some of them are new. I've bought newer ones, and it's just a constant battle keeping the decalcified and working on them. And we're bagging up ice and putting it in freezer so we don't run out on them busy events. And that takes hours of my day just right there, keeping up on the ice.
Yeah.
And then, you got this week I've been fighting plug drains, and it was a long winter, so now we're getting everything back up, and stuff's not working like it did at the end of the season. So it sat for 6 months. So we're
waking everything up, see what wakes up.
There's problems and wiring new stuff up, and
speakers, lights, all that.
Oh yeah, I haven't even touched that yet. Let me jot this stuff down on the board here as we go. But some of the stuff, you got a checklist and you go down it and try to make sure everything's ready.
How long does it take you to mow this place, to do the grounds? I know that's not
a couple days.
That's not a problem at every track, but your track is gorgeous. You have a grass infield that is gorgeous. That's rare at a dirt track.
Thank you.
But then all the way around this place, this place it's beautiful.
We mow the entire fairgrounds all the way back to here in the pit areas, and it takes a couple days, to about 2 days, all day to mow, and then a couple days of weed eating. And I don't do, obviously.
Yeah. I
used to do this all myself for a few years.
You've got a neat setup that I like. And for people that have not noticed this, it makes sense. All the local kids that work at Perfect North, when Perfect North closes down for the spring, you can hire some of those kids to come here and work all summer, and then they can go back to Perfect North.
That's right. And
that's cool.
That's a huge help.
Yeah.
Because they recruit from there, and we have really good kids that work at the ski area, and then they come over here and work
all summer.
Well, the problem is a lot of people don't realize this is we try to hire. We have about 100 on staff on a race day.
Okay.
So
wow.
We got a lot of kids that we need to work and work at concession stands, and adults. We have both, but you're getting them a job, and you tell them the hours. Okay, you're a teenager. Okay, let's go back. You're a teenager, and you're working 1 day a week. We can offer you a job for 1 day a week on Saturday night from 5 p.m. till midnight.
That's not when I want to work, Mr. Dave.
So that's a challenge, getting kids to work here because of that reason.
I never thought of that.
So,
I always just took it for granted. Like, you got kids. That'd be a cool place to work.
Right.
But I wouldn't have wanted to work here on a Saturday night. I don't want to be at a race somewhere.
Right.
Not working.
And that's most kids do. So the kids we have working, God love them. They do a great job. They give up their Saturday nights.
Wow.
To be here, and
that's cool. What's your crew during the week? The boys that are here during the week that I see. There's 4 or 5 of them, right?
Yeah, and we keep. Well, right now I have 3 guys working. I got one lady helping in concessions, getting them ready, and I got a couple girls that have been coming in a couple days a week, getting the souvenir stand ready and taking flyers, hanging flyers and schedules and stuff. We're getting ready to do that. A big push on them, and but right now I got 3 guys that help me throughout the week, and we're cleaning. Right now we're in the process of cleaning signs, getting everything prettied up, and
do you guys have a curfew here?
We do. Midnight.
Okay.
Is a
most racetracks do. They have a curfew, and if you break the curfew, you get fined or whatever.
There's a small fine to pay if you go past. I think for us, it's a $100 fine.
Okay, but you guys, I can't remember ever you guys breaking it. Have you? I'm sure once or twice.
I think we have twice. In the lease, it's written in the lease, and it actually says you can't start if you start your feature race after midnight, then you're fine. As long as that feature race starts before midnight.
Throw the green at 11:59, you're fine.
Yeah. But I always, I went over one time. I went late, and we had rain. We had like a couple hour delay because of rain.
Yeah.
And we ended up till 1 o'clock or something. And the next day, the mayor calls me. He's like, we had some complaints. You guys are running past midnight. I said, yes, sir. I said, we had some rain. He goes, I understand. I did my part. I called you. Goodbye.
Good for him. And, good for him.
I always tell him, the city, like, I don't want to be here till midnight.
Yeah, you're not trying.
I don't care. I care about the other people around here, but I don't care about them. I want to be in bed too.
Yeah.
Who do I call to complain about? Because we're here till midnight. So my goal is to be out of here 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Good.
I never purposely drag my feet, and I know some people tell me other tracks do. I don't know. I don't want to be. I don't want to be here that late.
Yeah,
I get tired.
that's
I'm ready to go home.
That's
It's
part
already,
of it.
if we get done 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm not getting home till 2, 3 in the morning anyway.
But still, yeah.
But I don't want to be here till 5 or 6 in the morning.
Yes, exactly. What's some of the odd or crazy things you've seen over the years with
wow.
racing? I mean, I know you've seen some hard rides. I've seen the fence around here. It's held up well, but it's taken some shit.
Yeah, well, the old fence, I always remember one of the scariest moments I had was, and I'm not going to remember his name, maybe you will, but it was the 1 year with the quarter mile, and somebody in a non-wing sprint.
It wasn't Brad Stevens, was it?
No.
Okay.
This is the one that coming out of turn 4, he flipped and hit the banking and then went up and over the fence, right where the good fence was built and the bad fence that went back towards the pits. Right at that transition, he went up and over, and he landed where one of my girls was sitting at a picnic table and landed upside down next to that picnic table. Luckily, she was watching and took off running. Otherwise, it would have landed on her.
Wow. Outside the track. Actually cleared the fence.
Yes.
Damn.
Landed upside down. Driver was okay. Everybody
yeah.
around, but there was always people standing there. I was at in the pits when it happened. I seen it, and that was one of them deals. I had to go running over there, but I really didn't want to.
Yeah, you didn't want to see what you're going to find.
Be bad, and it wasn't. Thank God. Everybody, God was shining down, looking down on us that day, and that was scary.
Wow, man, it's wild. Dad has been coming here since 1950. From the day, from when he was born. Mm-hmm. And that's the year the track was built. And there's been huge races here. I know you bring USAC here. They're here next weekend. Ward Outlaws come every year. What's the difference between a USAC and Ward Outlaws night as opposed to a regular Saturday night? Is it a big difference? Is it just another show to you?
No, it's a lot more pressure than a regular show. You get the lights and cameras, and it's televised across the world, via the internet and pay-per-view or whatever they do, and
it's like your hero coming to your house.
Yeah,
and it's the man. It's the ones.
It's the big dogs and it's the people that people come to see.
Yeah.
It's the racers,
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that just only will go to one race a year, the Ward Outlaws, or the USAC. They just follow USAC. That's it.
But it scares the hell out of me, really. Like the Outlaws come here. It scares the hell out of me. A couple of reasons. One, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that I pay.
You pay the Ward Outlaws for them to come here.
We pay their purse. We pay, a lot of people think that these tracks are just having the World Outlaws and they're paying, and they're like, no, they're World Outlaws. They pay out good money. No, the tracks pay out a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we pay that purse.
I never knew that until I got to know you, that you pay those big purses.
Yeah, we pay every track. The sanction doesn't pay anything as far as purse. We pay them. We pay them a sanction fee. We pay their insurance.
You have to pay them like a show-up fee, basically, to even come here.
Yep, and we pay for their officials.
One thing you mentioned to me that I would never think about is each one of those sanctions show up with like a list of like 50 or 60 people that get in free. That hurts.
I try not to talk about that because it just gets me mad.
I know.
I wish it was only 50 or 60. You got to add a zero on them.
Yeah, man.
That list.
God, it's hard.
But I understand, and that's how it is and always was, and we deal with it. But, it's a huge, you're talking over $100,000 at the end of the day to bring them in. And like I said, I'm a freaking mess on that week because I pay that much out. And it's not, if the weather's good, we're hoping to break even. Or we're hoping to make money, but if it's a little cloudy or they're calling for rain, all that money is coming through the gate. If I don't fill the place, we're losing money.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal is not to lose money. That's my goal. And then if we make money, awesome. But we don't want to lose money.
Yeah.
Which we do enough of. So
that's the side I don't think people understand. That it's not. You would think that those big sanctions would just come in and run the show and just tell you to sit back, we'll take care of this. But it ain't that way.
Not at all.
But on the flip side, they bring an amazing show. They bring the drivers people want to see. Mm-hmm. And in the best case scenario, someone will come just for that show, and their kid or their wife or their buddy will say, this is awesome. They do this every Saturday night.
Right.
I want to come back here. I didn't know this was in my backyard. That's the biggest thing I hear from people, my buddies, that I'll bring here. BMX buddies, wake skating buddies, snowboarding guys, any non-car guys, I'll get them to come here, and they all say the same thing. I didn't know. This is here every Saturday night, and then they become regulars, and that's good. That's what you got to do. It's the only way this is going to survive.
Yeah, it's funny because we still to this day have a lot of people come just to the World of Outlaws. And not taking a thing away from the World of Outlaws. They are an amazing show. They got a lot of talent. We get the big names, the NASCAR guys that come out and race with us, but not taking anything away from that. But these people that just come to see the World of Outlaws, they tell me, oh, we'll come to the Outlaw show and that's it. Like, you do not know what you're missing with a regular weekly show here.
Yes.
With non-wing sprints, the mods, the whole program. But if you think the World of Outlaws is something, you need to come here on just a regular Saturday night and see the racing that goes on.
It's amazing.
It is. But
Lawrenceburg's always been a track that will pull heavy hitters on a regular Saturday night.
It is.
All throughout the year. There is serious racers here. It's just one of those tracks that attracts those guys. What do you have? What's exciting for this year? What's going on for your next week and your opener?
Well, we're right now. Over the winter, we took on a project in October of new dirt. We're really we was out of dirt. Been out of dirt for 3-4 years.
That my dad and I had this discussion, and it doesn't dawn on people that the dirt actually leaves this place. It gets thrown out. For one, it'll get thrown out by the cars. But if you think about it, every car, every modified, every late model, every street stock that leaves here goes to the car wash with 20, 30 pounds of dirt on it. That dirt doesn't come back. It's gone. Mm-hmm. The rain during the week rinses the top a little bit off and goes down the drains. And now, 10 years later, that shit's gone.
It's just plain gone. And I've been struggling the past few years with the track because we're down, people say, well, what do you mean you're out of dirt? Well, when this track was constructed, they filled everything up and made the banking. They brought in rocks, basically shale. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of clay in it, but mainly rocks and shale. Is out of a hillside back behind Walmart down the street here. It's like you see when you're going down the interstate in this area. It's all rock sides. Well, that's what the base is here.
Good base, yeah.
And it is a good base, but we put several feet of dirt on it when we built the track, and that was gone. We had spots every week that was popping up that I'd have to go and try to cover up and pack down and keep, and it don't stay in, and you can't work a grader right because you've got to keep that covered, and it's been a battle, and we finally over the winter got 3,000 yards, and I know most people listening,
I can't even fathom
are going to
that.
say 3,000 yards. That don't mean nothing to me. What are you talking, like my backyard? You got 3,000? Well, pretty much. But it's 300 triaxle loads. The big dump trucks you see on the road with 3 axles.
300 loads.
Got 300 of them in, and we started in October, and we had a good 3-day push. We were bringing it in. I had the lights going. We were working till midnight, getting that dirt in, and then the rain came, and we were only a third of the way. I'm like, oh man.
You showed me something last fall that was really cool that I would never have known. When you had ordered the dirt, you had a paper, like a 6-page paper printout of the dirt itself, and it was like a scientific breakdown of the clump factor, the moisture content, the amount of each and mineral in the dirt. So this isn't just like some dirt you scraped up down the road. This is clay that is, you can order good clay that compacts and holds together. And there's actually a science to it. And I don't think people realize that. It's that cool. It's that interesting.
Well, I think there were 6 samples. One of them was the existing clay on the track.
Yes.
And then there was 5 other sites in the area where we had available clay, and they ran all the tests, and we found the best clay that suited racing. We hope
that's cool.
We hope it's the best clay.
But that's cool, man. You actually put there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
Yes, and you have to, be able to locate this clay, and we had the sites and where we could get it. So
and there has to be 300 dump trucks of it.
Yes, a lot, and you have to get it in sometime, and the only time is in the winter because it takes a tremendous amount of time to work that dirt in and get it right, and we're just not dumping dirt out there and say, okay, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's a situation we're in while we're not practicing right now as we speak, because they're out. There's 2 dozers out there.
Yeah, there's a crew here right now running. I can hear them. It's
and
going.
They're probably wondering where the hell I'm at. I'm in here BSing with you. But we have we had that push in October. We got a third of it in, and then the rains came and kind of screwed us over. Mother Nature does that to me a lot.
Yeah. And, no matter how much you ask and beg and pray.
It doesn't help. And so anyhow, we got the rest of the dirt in January when the ground froze. It was sub-zero. We were here 4 days straight, nonstop, lights burning.
Jeez.
Late January, got the rest in.
All the while, you're trying to work at Perfect North, too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jeez, man.
So we got it in, and now we're trying to get it dried up, pushing it out, covering it. You've seen the process out there. It's a big process, and we're.
Did you add how much did you add to the surface? We talking feet here?
I would say a couple feet.
Wow.
Average.
2 foot of dirt on that entire track. And how big is the track?
3/8 mile.
That's a lot of dirt, man.
It is. It is.
A
So,
lot of clay.
But I'm real happy right now until we actually race on it and see what it's going to be like. And it's a learning curve.
That's cool.
It's different. It's a learning curve. It's going to be a learning curve for everybody, the racers and myself. And but the one thing I'm very, very happy about is it's clean. Really,
yes.
There's no rocks.
I noticed that. Dad and I, we looked at that. And that's
clean.
the kind of stuff you look at. Is there rocks in it? Is it this, that? Boy, it's just good, clean, pretty clay.
Yes, it is. I hope it works out.
What's your what are the times for Saturday for racing? Weekly show here.
Well, this weekly show, our gates open at 5.
Okay, cool.
The general mission open at 5 o'clock. But yeah, anybody listening out there, get on we got lots of cool pictures. Pictures are everything.
On your website?
On LawrenceburgSpeedway.com. Lots of cool pictures and all the information's there, the schedules, all that good stuff.
Perfect. Dave, thank you.
Hey,
thank you, man. I like I said, a lot of people out there don't understand what it takes to run a track. I always thought it'd be a cool thing to do until I talked to you and hung out with you. And I know you enjoy it. We talk a lot about the downside, but I see you. I know you enjoy it. You're never cussing and you're throwing shit. You're always smiling and having a good time.
Yeah, you're right. Anyways, talking about people bitching, we did a lot of bitching on this show here, I think, about a little bit of everything. But honestly, the reason I do it and continue to do it is because guys like you, I've made a lot of great new friends. I consider all the racing people, my family. We're all like a big family because, on race day, we all hate each other as far as drivers, but when the day's done, we're all buddies.
Yeah.
We're all buddies.
I see you in victory lane with your cigar, and you're happy, and you're congratulating the drivers. You like seeing history being made in front of you on something you created, and that's cool. This is a very historical racetrack, and I'm honored to be your buddy because I know you're keeping the history alive here at this place, and it'll go on for years, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. So see you next Saturday.
Yes, sir.
See you.
Thanks.